In this tutorial, we're going to look at using widgets in Dreamweaver CC. The three widgets we're going to look at are a live Twitter feed, a Google map, and a Lightbox Gallery. I'm using the Salon wireframe that we've made in the previous video, but you could do this with a blank HTML page if you wished. So let's start with the Google map. I'm going to open up Chrome and go to Google Maps, and let's just put a Dubai salon, for example, and find a salon in Dubai. Avalon Beauty Salon looks perfect to me. So where did that go? Okay, let's go with this one here. Down in the settings, we can click on and get share or embed a map. And so when we go to embed map, we have a couple of choices, and if I go for small, then that's the map that Google Maps is going to give me. I'm just going to select all of that. You notice this code here is an iframe, which is a HTML tag, and that iframe has some HTML settings in it. I'm just going to grab that and place it into my page, and what I've got is a Google map here. Now, we don't see it in the design view, but if we go to the live view, then that will kick in and put the Google map into our page. It's not exactly where we want it, so we would probably want to put that into a div tag to get some control. So let's just put a div tag around this. I'll just select the iframe and insert a div tag, wrap it around the current selection, which is what we want to do. I'll call this Google Map div, and I'll create a CSS for it. I'm not actually going to put anything in there at the moment, but I like to have a rule there so I can style it. And now it's in a div tag. I can go to CSS Designer and set some properties for that. So the width of the Google map is actually 400 wide by 300 high. So I'm going to make the div tag the same. That was 400 wide by 300 high. And I'd like to position it. So I'm going to set it relative to the container and set some properties for this. So let's see, where do we want it to go? I think if we move it across a bit, and maybe even down a bit. Now let's look at inserting a Twitter feed into a page. In Chrome, I'm going to Twitter. I've logged on with an account, so you need to create an account for Twitter if you don't already have one. Under your settings, you get a whole bunch of settings for your Twitter account. One of the settings is widgets. So if we click on widgets, you may or may not already have a widget created. I'm going to create a new widget, and I'm just going with the user timeline for this widget. And that's a preview of what the Twitter feed would look like. So if we go create this widget, then Twitter will very kindly give us a bunch of HTML. So I'm copying that, selecting it all and copying it, and now I'm just going to drop that into my page. So again, I'm just dropping it underneath the Google Map div. At the moment it's not in a div. You can see that it has an A tag and a script tag that make this Twitter feed operate. Again, let's just have a quick look at the live view, and you can see that the Twitter feed is now on my page. And again, I would put that Twitter feed into a div tag so that I could control its location on the page. Now, the third widget that I want to demonstrate is how to do a Lightbox Gallery. Now, there are numerous solutions to this. The one I'm going to use is by Sachin Chalur at GitHub. But you can do a Google search for gallery widgets and you'll find numerous ones. This is a demonstration and explanation page. On this page he has some cut and paste links on how to use the Light Gallery. So let's begin by just downloading the Lightbox Gallery. Once the zip file has downloaded and you've opened it up, you'll see there are a bunch of files and folders. I'm just going to take these 4 folders and drag them into my website. You'll see we have a CSS folder with a Light Gallery CSS. We have a fonts folder with a couple of fonts that the widget uses, a sample image, which in this case is just a loading animated GIF, and a JavaScript folder that has the Light Gallery JavaScript file, 2 versions of it. This Light Gallery widget is built on the jQuery framework, which is pretty common for these kind of widgets. So back in the instructions page, we see that we have to add the following code to the head of your document. So I'm just going to grab this link tag to the CSS gallery and the 2 script tags. I'll copy those faithfully and paste them into the head of my page. Note that this page will look into the CSS folder for the Light Gallery, and so that's correct. We've got the index page will look across for the CSS and then into this gallery, and the same with the CSS with the JS Light Gallery JavaScript file. So those 2 it will find. This one here it will find anyway because it's going to a web source for that. Back in the instruction page, we have the HTML structure for this widget is a UL, an unstructured list tag, and then inside the unstructured list we have LI tags for each list element. And in this case, each list element has a data source, which is an image, and an image itself, which will be the thumbnail. So I'm going to copy this and paste this into the body. I'm going to paste it underneath the Twitter feed. By the way, I don't need this ... That's just telling me if I want to create more list items, I can copy them here. Now, to get the images into the gallery and into the widget, I'm just going to, I have here 1, 2, 3, 4 gallery images that I want to use. They're called gallery 01.jpg, and they're actually in the same directory, in the root directory of the site. So I'm just going to grab 2 of those. So gallery 1 and gallery image 2 will be the start of my gallery. So just to see what we've got, I'll go to the design view, and here's my two images. They're a bit large for thumbnails, so I'm just going to shrink them down to a more thumbnail size. You would want to do this with CSS, I'm sure, and you might want to. Oh, that one's gone a bit crooked. You might want to float them left so they all sit in a line, and put the whole thing, the widget here, into a div tag so that you can control where it is on stage. But just to demonstrate, the last thing back on the instruction page, I'm ignoring the data attributes and playing around with all of the different things you can do to customize the widget. This is the script we need to actually call the light gallery once the document has loaded into the page. So I'm copying this one and going back to my header, and again I'm just going to paste this script into the header. So so now if I go to the live view, I can see my widget here. If I click on to one of the images, I get my light gallery. It's fully functional. I can go to the next image. I can get the view down here to switch between images, and of course I can close it when I'm finished with it. So I would spend a bit of time creating two CSS style rules. One for the gallery widget itself, so that I could position the widget where I want on the page, and secondly for each individual list item. I would want to get rid of the bullet point. I would want to have them float left, and just generally set some style for this widget. So just to recap, we've learned how to insert a Google Map image, insert a Twitter feed, and insert a gallery. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this useful.